Back in the garage, back in the garage, back in the garage today, back in the garage. Alright guys, back in the garage tonight working on my 1983 Honda C70. Gonna get the valves adjusted. Now I know what you're thinking, you read the description and I said CRF50 and CRF70, and the reason for that is it's basically the same engine. The valve adjustment procedure is exactly the same, and I've actually already done it on my son's CRF50 and his new, that he doesn't know about, but probably does by the time this video is posted, CRF70. We're gonna do the same thing on my 70 tonight. Let's check it out. Now, but the only thing that's gonna be different is the left side case is a little bit different on this older style engine. However, when you get up here, it's gonna look exactly the same, whether you're working on a 50 or CRF70, exactly the same procedure. Just one more quick thing. If you're wondering, how do you know if you need to adjust the valves? Well, actually, that's the first thing we're gonna do is check to see if we need to adjust them. Chances are we probably do, and one of the signs that you probably need to adjust your valves is the bike gets a little bit harder to start, normally because the valves have tightened. That's what I think's happened with this bike, because that's what's happened with the other two bikes. So let's find out. Okay, so while on the CRF50 and 70 you have to take this side case off, on the C70 you don't, because I can remove this top cap and this side cap, which will give me access to the bolt in here. But if it makes you feel better, I had to take the shin guard or leg guard off, and you don't have to remove any plastic on your 50 or 70. I guess I could have got to these without, but would have been a little tougher. So I've got to get a ratchet on there so I can turn this and get it to top dead center. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Once you get that spun around, hopefully you guys can see this. There's a little line there and a T next to it. That is the top, that is the line signifying top dead center. You line that line up with that notch, and now we go down to the valves. Alright, we've got the T lined up with top dead center on the notch right there. First thing we got to do is remove the valve covers. We got one here, and then there's another one down here on the bottom. They are both 17mm. Alright, so with both valve covers removed, you can see down there in the valve, these are screw tappet. That is a 8mm nut on there. So the first thing we're going to do is get our feeler gauge and see where they're at right now. With the feeler gauge, we are looking for 0.002 inches. I know that's not coming in real clear. Basically all we're going to do is fit that down in there and see if it does fit. If it doesn't, we'll move on from there. Okay, so in my case they were too tight. These are actually 9mm on here to back this off. Now we're just going to try to get this back in and see if it fits this time. Okay, so both the intake and the exhaust valve are a little tight. Basically what you want when you put that feeler gauge in is you just want it to slide in there and have a little bit of drag, but not be too tight, not be too loose. Once you've done that, just lock back down these lock nuts, the 9mm. I don't know what the torque setting is. I just snug them up. And now we're going to put the valve covers back on. Make sure you put a little bit of oil on that O-ring, and we'll put these back on, and we're about done. Now in my case, all I have to do is put these little covers back on. In your case, you'll have to put the entire, if you're working on a CRF70 or CRF50, your entire left engine case cover back on. One more thing I should have said before we got started, but I'll probably put like a little graphic or something there. This should be done with the engine totally cold. Do not do this with a warm engine. Otherwise, it's not going to work quite right. Alright, so I got my C70 all put back together, and that is pretty much it for adjusting the valves on one of these, or a Honda CRF70. Alright, so that's it. If you guys enjoyed tonight's video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. If you're not a subscriber, I look forward to you being one, and I'll talk to you again soon.